Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now, Democratic House Minority Speaker Hakeem Jeffries might be looking at some jail time here pretty soon because, as it would turn out, he just committed a serious federal crime. Now, as you all know, for the last couple of months, President Trump's ICE agents have been scouring the country looking for illegal aliens that they can apprehend, detain, and deport. That being said, ICE agents have recently become the victims of a drastic rise in violence, with assaults against ICE officers surging by 413% since President Trump stepped back into the White House. On top of that, various radically progressive groups have been actually targeting ICE agents, identifying them, then trying to harass them in their personal lives. Really, what the ICE agents have been forced to deal with lately is absolutely disgusting. And so, because of these ongoing threats and safety concerns, ICE agents across the country have begun wearing masks to conceal their identities just to avoid harassment from all of the far-left radical progressives. But you see, various senior-ranking Democrats aren't happy about this development, to say the least. They actually want our ICE agents to get harassed and to have their lives ruined, because they pose a threat to the Democrats' beloved illegal aliens. In fact, if you don't believe me, take a look at what Democratic Boston Mayor Michelle Wu recently had to say about all of this. Let it play.
I don't know of any police department that routinely wears masks. We know that there are other groups that routinely wear masks. NSC 131 routinely wears masks.
Mayor, just to clarify, are you comparing ICE, you said, to NSC 131, the neo-Nazi group? Are you comparing them to a neo-Nazi group?
What I said is that Boston Police and no police department that I know of at the local level routinely wears masks.
So folks, that was a senior-ranking Democratic politician directly comparing a bunch of ICE agents just doing their job to a bunch of neo-Nazis. With rhetoric like that, it's no wonder that ICE agents have been getting attacked and assaulted all across the country. But check this out. What Hakeem Jeffries had to say about all of this was perhaps even worse. But before we play that, I do want to say real quick that if you guys enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, take a look at this.
Every single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America. This is not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That, in fact, is the law.
So folks, that was one of the highest ranking Democratic politicians in the nation calling for the direct public identification of every single ICE agent in the country. Now, unfortunately for House Minority Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, what he just said has landed him in some major trouble. Every single ICE agent who is engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. No matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, they will, of course, be identified. Folks, as a little bit of a reminder here, obstructing or impeding the work of federal officers is a serious federal crime which carries up to a 5-year prison sentence. But you know what? Take a look at why all of this is really such a big deal. Let it play.
DHS says that attacks against ICE agents are up 413%. And we just heard from the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons, on why these agents are now wearing masks in some of these operations. Listen here.
We ran an operation where ICE officers were doxxed. So let's just say that again. People are out there taking photos of the names, their faces, and posting them online with death threats to their family and themselves. So I'm sorry if people are offended by them wearing masks, but I'm not going to let my officers and agents go out there and put their lives on the line and their family on the line.
I know that, Tom Homan has talked in the past about having to pay a private security detail to defend himself as, he was getting death threats. But these rank and file agents don't have those kinds of resources. What do you make of the House Minority Leader's comments about naming anyone that they think has acted inappropriately?
I think it's the height of irresponsibility for the leader to engage in such a behavior. I mean, the simple fact is that these are men and women who are doing their jobs. Their jobs is they signed up for, that they agreed to take on risk associated with it. These are very hard jobs. They're threatening enough elements of this as it is when it comes to arresting so many of these individuals who are here illegally and who have engaged in all manner of criminal acts or accused of such. And so when they go and they actually arrest them, they're doing the thing that they're supposed to be doing and they're paid to do by the American people. When he says that he's going to dox these agents, he puts a target on every one of their backs. And engaging in that kind of behavior should be unacceptable no matter the administration. I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican. We shouldn't be engaged in this type of behavior when it comes to agents who are just trying to do their job, enforce the law, and bring these criminals to justice.
And so, folks, that's just the truth. These ICE agents are just trying to do their job, which is protect American citizens from illegal aliens, and the Democrats right now are trying to undermine that. The truth is, by threatening to unmask and publicly identify all of these ICE agents and by comparing them to neo-Nazis, the Democrats are directly inciting violence, and it's obvious that that's what they're doing because ICE agents across the country have been getting assaulted and attacked at increasingly higher rates. And once again, the reason why all of this is happening is because of the Democrats' violent and dangerous rhetoric. They're putting people's lives at risk, that's just the truth. But so folks, as it would turn out, the acting ICE director is done playing around. In fact, just the other day, he had this to say. Let it play.
Here's what I have to say to Boston Mayor Michelle Wu, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, and anyone else stirring up the outrage about what ICE does. My officers and agents walk into danger so other people can sleep safely at night, so kids can make it to school safely and play outside. So while it's easy to be an armchair quarterback and make up talking points that get activists riled up, the bottom line is my officers and agents are out there protecting the same people who are threatening their safety. Law enforcement's common sense. Politicians need to stop putting my people in danger. I'm not asking them to stop. I'm demanding that they stop.
So you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? The gloves are coming off. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Now he's not asking, he is demanding. And so, between you and me, if the left's dangerous rhetoric doesn't come to an end, I'd expect to see some criminal investigations here. We already know that AOC and Ilhan Omar are currently being investigated, but folks, I'll tell you what, I'm with you guys. I think we need to start seeing some arrests. All of these far-left radical progressives that have been actively working to subvert and undermine President Trump's America First agenda need to be held accountable. We need to start seeing some prison sentences. Because, folks, as I like to say, that is what it's going to take to really start putting America first. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before we wrap up, I do want to say real quick that we officially have a Morse News Twitter page as well as a Morse News Facebook page. So if you use either of those platforms, please go down below and drop a follow in order to get breaking news updates that relate to everything we talk about here in the YouTube videos. But everyone, that is going to be a wrap for today's video, so please go down below and drop a comment. Let me know what you think about all of this. Please like the video while you're down there, and like I said earlier, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. Thank you all very much for tuning in today, and of course, as always, stay safe.